Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you. Today we have kind of a silly little concept, as you can see by the title right there, but it is something that's been in the back of my head for a while, and then the review I posted for you guys this morning just kind of reminded me of it. I have this thing, I could have just called this, like the most comfortable knives to carry or something like that. I called it best knives to take a nap with because I do have this thing in the back of my head that I've never said on camera, but I do kind of call it the nap test. So to explain, I'm 45 years old. I sleep weird hours. I'm busted up, so I can't really lay in a bed for more than about 5-6 hours tops, and I get pretty sore from like old injuries, broken ribs, and broke a couple vertebrae in my back and all kinds of stuff. Doesn't bother me day to day, but I just can't lay in one place very long. So I usually go to bed about midnight, get up 5:30 or 6 in the morning, work until about 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and then I usually take a little nap for about an hour. And then, I get up and go back on about my day and rinse, repeat. And I've always thought about, there are some knives that are so comfortable in my pocket. When I take a nap, I don't usually, I don't disrobe or anything. It's nothing graphic. I just climb in bed with what I'm wearing. And usually I forget to take the knife out of my pocket. Some of them I'll roll around and it'll wake me up. Other ones don't. They're just so comfortable in the pocket that I just leave them there and forget they're even there, and wake up after an hour or so, and they haven't bothered me. They don't have anything poking out. They're not riding so high that they're jabbing me in the hip or anything. So I just forget that they're there. These are the knives that also occasionally go through the wash, because I'll come to bed late at night and take my pants off and climb into bed and leave my pants in a pile by the side of the bed, because I'm a typical man, and my wife is very nice, and sometimes will gather up my laundry and do my laundry, and I'll forget there's a knife in there. So several of these have gone through the wash before also, but it's really just the most comfortable knives to have. But these are the ones that have definitely passed the nap test. One of them I just reviewed this morning. I did my research for you guys. I took a nap with it this afternoon in my pocket, left it there on purpose. It passed the nap test. So let's get going. Obviously, this is a joke. The Formax Scout is not one of them. This is a huge knife, and I love a lot of things about it. This is one you never forget is in your pocket. You never forget to take it out, and you definitely would not want to nap with 10.2 ounces of cold steel in your pocket. That's just not going to happen. But let's get going with the actual ones. First up, and I kind of mentioned about being, about knives going through the wash, and somebody mentioned the biggest one he had that would go through the wash would be the TRMM, and he's right. The TRMM definitely passes the nap test. It's kind of very typical of what you're going to see in a lot of these. No flipper tab. You're going to see a lot of no flippers, because flipper tabs, even very unobjectable ones, often jab you. I think maybe there's one in here. It's very, very thin. That's very important to me to pass the nap test. And, deep carry clip is nice again, because like I said, if it carries really high and you roll around, sometimes, the butt will jab you in the hip a little bit. But yeah, the Atom, great knife. I know it has gone through the wash before. Sorry, TRM, it didn't hurt it, I promise. This one happens to have the red and black carbon scales on it. And the Atom's great in so many ways too. So it gets the nap test a lot too, because it's just often in my pocket. So it's just kind of by luck of the draw, I'm going to forget that it's in there and fall asleep. Next up, that would be the one from this morning. I just did the review of this morning. This is the Cold Steel Airlight. It's their newest, one of their newest knives for 2020. Also, again, very, very thin, very light. Weight is a good thing too. You don't want anything super heavy for the naps. You want something, you don't need to have anything really tiny or really light. You're gonna notice I've tried to make all these kind of full-size-ish EDC knives, or close to it anyway, because obviously you could just put something really small in your pocket. Obviously that's going to pass. That's cheating. I want to get real good full-size knives that actually you can leave in your pocket and take a nap. It doesn't have a deep carry clip, but what is coming out is just, there's nothing sharp there to jab you or anything like that. And like I said, it passed today. So really it's a good nap knife, I think. And I just like it. I'm really enamored with this thing. And maybe I'm still in the honeymoon phase or something, but I think the Airlight is a fantastic freaking knife. Next up would be a little bit smaller knife, the Spyderco Chaparral, but still definitely big enough to be an EDC for most humans. Again, very, very thin, deep carry clip. I like the wire clips too for napping, because they bend a little bit instead of, staying super stiff. I think that's a good thing when you're rolling around. I'm not a restless sleeper, but I do move around a whole lot. but this definitely passes the nap test, and it's just a very comfortable knife to have in your pocket, one that's easily forgotten. This one has never gone through the wash, but my previous Chaparral lightweight that I had, not the one I currently have, definitely has. You can choose the lightweight or this one, any version you want of the Chaparral, of which there are many, but they're all just super thin and very comfortable to have in your pocket. See, next up, another Spyderco, kind of a big one, but the Spidey Chef. It's, again, this is one that I carry a whole lot, as you can see, because it's filthy, as it always is. I'm not nice to this knife, but they don't intend you to be. It's all completely, you know, corrosion resistant, all that stuff. Again, very, very thin wire clip, same kind of thing as the Chaparral, just a bit bigger. I don't mind so much if it's a longer knife. That doesn't really bother me. It's just the thickness is what I notice more. So yeah, this great nap knife. This is a great knife, period. Maybe my favorite what I own. It's definitely in the conversation. Next up would be the Benchmade Bugout. This is a pretty obvious choice. This happens to be the full-size CF Elite one, but you could also the mini. But again, I'm trying to you know, show larger knives, because obviously this is small. It's kind of cheating. Obviously, this is going to be okay in that situation. But you know, the Bugout, super light, thin, again, deep carry clip, again, no flipper tab, again, all that kind of stuff you want. And I like the CF Elite version, even though I don't really like coated blades. I realized that I say I don't like coated blades, but I think more than half of my 3 out of 5 of my Benchmates have coated blades. So I guess maybe I don't mind it as much as I think I do. Their coating's pretty darn good anyway. But yeah, the Bugout, pretty obvious choice there. Next up, we have, this is one I have not done a full review of yet, and I keep meaning to, but I got it really late because of some custom stuff, and other people did the reviews, so I haven't bothered to do it yet. But excellent is the Real Steel G-Slit. One of my favorite modern slip joints, honestly. It's pretty freaking great. And again, very thin, a little bit thicker than the others, but still pretty thin. Again, deep carry wire clip, and it's not very heavy at all, and that's just nice and rounded off. It's not going to jab you in your hip. I tend to sleep on one side or the other, curled up in a little ball, so that matters a lot to me. The only thing, this sticks out a little bit, but it's never really bothered me as far as the nap test goes. So yeah, the G-Slip, awesome. They're not very expensive either. VG10, I think it is. Really cool knife. You'll see a full review of that this week sometime, as I'm burning through content for you guys on in these trying times. Next up would be, this is probably the smallest knife on the list, because again, I was trying not to have little tiny knives, and it is a flipper. It's one of the only ones. That would be the Ferrum Forge Mini Archbishop, because again, super slim, nice deep carry clip. It does have that bit sticking out. I thought that would disqualify it, but yeah, it doesn't. This knife is very, very comfortable to have in my pocket when I'm laying down. It's really, really good. No complaints there. That does stick out, but again, it hasn't been a problem. I'm kind of surprised it hasn't been, but it has not thus far. Next up, another fairly new addition, one that you guys finally pushed me over the edge to buy, and I'm so glad you did. This is the Giant Mouse Ace Iona. This is the new aluminum version. I like this a lot more than the plasticky handle one. Again, deep carry clip, again, wire clip, and nice and thin. It's not as thin as some of the others, but still pretty darn thin. Very light, and just a generally all-around comfortable knife to have in your pocket. It's pretty good. And I will say, this one has also gone through the wash once. Not gonna be mad at my wife about it. It is my fault. Next up, another Benchmade, the classic, the 940, especially when you put a deep carry clip on it. This is a Bugout one, but the other one as well. But again, very slim, very light. This happens to be a 940-1, the carbon fiber S90V version. But I always like having a 940 around anyway. And yeah, it often just winds up in my pocket when it's sleepy time, and it's never woken me up and never bothered me. So really, really cool knife. I think everybody knows that. If you don't know about the 940, then why are you watching this? Next up would be the Civivi Mckenna. Cool front flipper. I just like a whole lot about the Mckenna. It's so much fun. One of the most fun front flippers I've ever had, and one of the cheapest ones I've ever had. The only one I had that was cheaper was the Real Steel Metamorph. Deep carry clip, but again, a little bit sticking out. But again, it hasn't ever been a problem, but that's not my preference for this kind of knife, but it has never been an issue. And you kind of need it because this isn't a huge knife, so you do kind of need that little extra bit of real estate on there. But again, lightweight, pretty slim handle, carries fairly deep. Good sleepy time knife. Good knife for dreamy dreams. And last up, we got a couple of pretty inexpensive options. You have the CRKT Pete. I had said Piet in the review because I'm pretentious, but it has since been clarified. It is Pete. Again, nice deep carry clip. I love the flush screws on this thing for the price these are. These are like under 30 bucks. And again, butt of it is very nicely rounded. It's very lightweight. It's a bit thick for compared to some of these, but it's not bad. And it never bothers me in my pocket. I love this knife. It's really, really good. Definitely one of my budget knife of the year contenders, as is the Airlight that you saw earlier. And lastly, kind of a classic, and one that I bought to review, and I've never let it go, and I do actually carry it sometimes, but I never show it or talk about it at all. But it's the Kershaw Atmos. These were super hot last year. Everybody wanted one. I think everybody who wanted one got one, and we all had some time with them and stopped talking about them. They came out with some other colors. This is the original, just a black one. I know I've seen a blue and a red maybe, but again, very, very inexpensive knife, like 25 bucks. 8CR13 want steel, but I don't care about that when I'm sleeping. And nice deep carry clip, nothing sticking out. And if anything, if you roll over at all, nothing really to jab you. Really nice knife that everybody's just kind of forgotten about. It's still good. Sinkovich design. I know we don't talk about it anymore, but it's still good. Bearing, still that great action. Does have the only other one with a flipper tab, but it is a tiny, tiny little flipper tab, so it never bothers me at all. So that's it. I know it's a silly concept for a video, but I wanted to talk about the nap test anyway. I wanted to do a video about the nap test because I never mentioned my nap tests, but I do that on a lot of knives. Obviously, there are some, the Formax, I never even attempted it. You know, another Cold Steel, the 8010, I have the ZTO 308. None of my hinderers I really attempt it with, but it's just something a weird, stupid little thing that I do. And for some knives, and I just thought it would be a fun little thing. Let me know in the comments, do you want it added to the review? I'll add it into the review. I'll add it in and comment on the nap test, because just my sleeping schedule, I do take a nap almost every day because I'm an oldie and I have a weird sleeping schedule. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this and at least found it amusing, if nothing else. Enjoy making fun of me for my old man naps in the comments if you want to do that. I will accept your beratement. God knows that my wife and kids give it to me every day. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.